So I hope you all got out on this beautiful day. It's gorgeous out here. It's like the perfect temperature. It's a little overcast, but beautiful. I hope you got out in the fresh air, got out in the sun. The book I'd like to talk about today is For Whom the Bell Tolls. And I think it's pretty tough for me in an 8 to 10 minute video to explain how dear this book is to me. Um, I'm going to make a bold statement about it, and that is that it's probably top five, top three books for me of all time. Uh, I'm a pretty big Hemingway fan. Some people say that this book is his magnum opus, and I certainly would agree with that statement. Um, and I've read certainly not all of Hemingway's work, but I've read In Our Time, The Sun Also Rises, Farewell to Arms, of several others. So I'm pretty familiar with his work. I've even read some of his essays concerning politics and the situation in Spain. That is the Spanish Civil War, which brings us to the book itself. This book is essentially about. I take it. I haven't done that much research, but I would imagine that we could interpret this book as basically autofiction. There's This book is probably heavily informed by Hemingway's time in this during the Spanish Civil War. If you don't know much about the Spanish Civil War, I'll try to briefly set the scene. It's kind of one of the conflicts that, in my opinion, should be included in World War II and led up to World War II, because all the belligerents um, involved in World War II were present. You had fascist Italy and um, fascist Germany, both contributing arms, um, airlift capability, a multitude of different things to fascist Spain, or the fascist forces in Spain. And I believe the fascist forces in Spain are squaring off against. Um, I believe they're referred to as the Republicans. Um, they're um, it's kind of a hodgepodge of Marxist, purebred Marxists, um, anti-fascists, which is not synonymous with um, communist, and certainly not in this book. Um, or well, I keep the main character, uh, who I'm going to mistakenly refer to as Ernest Hemingway multiple times. Um, um, he's a teacher of some kind, and he's actually concerned that when he returns to the States that he'll be labeled a red, um, because of his participation in the Spanish Civil War uh, on the Republican side. So the book kind of it just starts off what some might characterize as like low intensity conflict, but the conflict is about as high intensity as you can get without coming to blows. It's a very tense conversation. He's living in a cave with Spanish irregulars, and there's changing loyalties and people's motivations. Some are understood, some are not, um, and some are fiercely loyal to Ernest Hemingway's analog in this book, the main character, um, and but there's always this like unease, um, because he's not. There's no chain of command. There's no command structure. There's no. there's objectives and military-based objectives, and Ernest Hemingway is actually trying to carry one out. And this book is, I don't remember the page count, well over 500 pages. And basically, it's fascinating because he has an objective to blow up a bridge that is of strategic importance to the 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 fascist Spain, the fascist forces in Spain. They're probably using it to transport war materials and troops, and it's the main character's objective to basically blow up the bridge. He has both the knowledge and the tools to do it. He brings them into the mountains with these red Spanish irregulars to do that very thing. And it kind of gets complicated because of the changing loyalties and because of a kind of a relationship or a romantic relationship the main character has with the Maria character. And that is almost present in the first chapter, and it develops throughout, and is actually, instead of being the type of romance in a book that seems extraneous or could be excised from the story entirely and not do much damage to the story, I think this romance in the book is actually pretty integral. He does a great job of integrating it into the story and making her an interesting, well fleshed out, dynamic character that really interacts with all the characters in the book. I believe there's a woman named Pilar, who, by the way, is named after Ernest Hemingway's. His private, I won't call it a yacht, it's a ship. I actually talk about it at some length in my recent podcast with Dave Gray. You should check that out if you get the time. I spent the first hour doing basically a review on a book called The Crook Factory, which is not by Ernest Hemingway, but Ernest Hemingway is a character in it, and it's a fantastic book. Very entertaining, very fun, a ball to read, pretty well written, and so that podcast actually starts out as a review of that book. So you should check that out when you get the time. But he spends the 500 pages building up to the moment, the apex of the story, which is mentioned in the first chapter. It's really, I'm envious and jealous of his ability to build to one moment and keep the moment forefront and the character's consciousness and the reader's consciousness, and the reader is never like, can we get on with it? No, it's like they're waiting breathlessly for 500 pages for this incident to happen. I mean, the man is, people call his prose basic and stripped down, and I would agree with that, but that does not diminish in any way his ability to tell a story. So I think Ernest Hemingway's real talent is, it's a storytelling, not the vehicle, and the vehicle is the prose. I mean, I'm not at all diminishing his prose. His prose is beautiful, and he has these moments, these glowing moments, where he has some kind of deep insight into a situation that is just germane to his experience on planet Earth, and really unique to his experience. And I think it's near impossible for other writers to reproduce unless they had lived the life he lived. So this book, I cannot recommend this book enough. Okay, if you have not read it, please put it on your list and get to it as soon as you can. I mean, I described it. I mean, this is kind of crass and pedestrian, but I described it as like a super dope like European action film. I mean, when was this book written? Way ahead of its time. So it's like you it's just it feels modern. And the Spanish Civil War, it took place in the early 30s. So this, I mean, it's just a really good book. I mean, it's one of the best books of all time. It's definitely like bucket list reading. So, I mean, I think I'm going to actually have to cut this video short because I could sit and gush about this book all day long. And another beautiful thing about this book that I might add before I end the video is that um, I described the plot to you, and it's stone tool simple. Okay, so he made us he took a very simple story and used his abilities with storytelling to build anticipation throughout a very basic bare bone story, and it keeps the reader's attention all the way to the end. And I was reading like 30 and 40 pages of this book a day at least. I mean, it was hard to put down. So like I said, if you haven't read it, go out and get this book. I mean, there's nothing really else to say. So um I guess this is the part where um I have to shill for my book, and I guess I didn't bring one, so I have a substitute here. I did a video on the special edition books that you can get from me personally. I'll have my website went down, and I'll have to get some kind of e-commerce operation up and going again, but it might be a while. So you might have to private message me to get the book from me, the special edition book. But um, so maybe I won't show the book for the 100th time. I'll show uh, these art lookbooks that you can actually get with the book itself. I had these printed at some significant cost to me. They're on high grade. I would characterize it as matte, not gloss, but it's high quality paper. And like I said, you can get the special edition book. You can get my book with just the book, a bookmark, and a sticker. The bookmark is metallic. Um, you can order them with the book, the art lookbook, the sticker, and uh, a bookmark, a metallic bookmark. This is an example of the stickers. I mean, as you can see, they're quite large, nice vinyl stickers. These are obnoxious. You know, you stick these on something, you know, people are going to take notice. So thanks for your time. And like I said, uh, go get yourself a copy of For Whom the Bell Tolls. Peace.